Graduation season is underway, but not everyone is moving out as they're moving on.
Yeah, more young adults are living with their parents longer in what some are calling a shift in American culture. Rena Sargentopoulos looks at why it's happening and what has more people saying, why not?
This is our whole family wall.
Alex Radelius is 29 and back home after college and some time in the workforce.
Originally, the plan wasn't for me to be in the States. I, teach French and I teach English as a second language. But at the pandemic, we all kind of got grounded.
All three of my kids graduated from college during COVID. So the traditional find a job and maybe move away was kind of what I expected. But there was no one interviewing. So they all ended up coming home and finding jobs thereafter.
Alex is the last at home and not in a hurry because she's seen the benefits.
Sure. Both of my siblings have houses now. They were able to do that because they also stayed at home.
She recognizes the privilege in that, the opportunity to get ahead financially, and Mom agrees.
This way they get to put it aside for either the near-term future, if it's a house, or the longer-term future in terms of retirement accounts and that kind of thing.
Alex has several friends her age that also live at home with parents. It's become more common than you think.
I think there's a change in sort of what emerging adulthood looks like and what independence sort of looks like, particularly for kids in their 20s right now.
Dr. Michael Curtis is a couples and family therapist. He says there's been a shift in the culture.
In my generation, there was a stigma around, wow, you're living with your parents, or you're still relying on your parents to do things. And I think this younger generation is like, yeah, because that's the smarter way of doing it.
But how big is this shift? New data from the Pew Research Center shows about 18% of young adults aged 25 to 34 currently live with their parents. Except for a short blip in the 2010s, it is the highest rate since the 1940s. Men are more likely to live at home than women, and the main drivers are high rent and low housing affordability.
The average young person living at home these days is actually pretty much making a smart financial decision based on the reality of the job market and the housing market that we're now in.
Jana Johnson is an economist with the Humphreys School of Public Affairs at the University of Minnesota. She says back in the 70s, the median priced home was about 3 times your annual income.
Today, it's 5 times, right? So that's largely considered to be pretty unaffordable.
Harvard University's Joint Center for Housing Studies confirms those numbers, saying wages across the country have gone up, but not nearly as much as the increase in housing costs. Think about this. The median annual household income back in 1985 was $23,620, and the median home price was $82,800. In 2025, that income rose to just above $83,000, but the median house price a tick above $415,000. Wages went up by 252%, but cost of housing up 403%. And while Americans are starting to embrace multi-generational living, for other cultures, like the Hmong culture, it has long been tradition.
These are 2 pictures of my parents-in-law. This is back in Laos.
Mai Chi Vu talks fondly of her husband's parents. They lived together for years. In fact, it was 3 generations in the same house.
They took care of our 2 boys at that time, which was really beneficial to us in many ways.
Mai Chi was able to go to work and back to school at the same time. Not having to pay for daycare helped them pay off her master's degree. But as Vayu explains, the impact was much deeper than financial.
Because with my parents at home, that we have the luxury that they were able to pass down our history because we never have a written language until the 1970s. So every story has been passed down on bedtime.
The Vus have 1 child left at home, letting them all stay until they were both financially and emotionally ready to move forward. And with all the good that comes with that, it's a fact that parenting an adult child can bring its own set of challenges.
For parents, it's really a challenge of how do I learn to pull back and become more of a mentor role and a guidance role instead of do X, Y, and Z, and allowing them to go out, try things, fail, and know they have a safe place to come back to.
Jean and Alex have experienced those challenges.
Yes.
But they've also realized that if everyone meets set expectations, it's a win-win.
Don't worry about it.
The goal is that life is easier for both of us. by having this combination.
Yeah, I think so too.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Back in my day, interest rates were over 12%. And you know what? You are right. But comparatively, it is still less affordable to buy a home now. Staying at home doesn't make you a loser, especially if you are gainfully employed. And that's the key there. And for parents, it is a way to help distribute inheritance when your kids actually could really use it. So expectations, I think if everyone is on the same page, knowing how long you're going to let them stay, and if they are helping out and being a part of the household,
Yeah.
it can be okay.
Go ahead.
To your point earlier, interest rates were much higher, but the cost of living was nowhere near what it is now.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And I think you profiled a family where the kids clearly were saving for a house.
Yes.
It'd be harder if you saw your child going on big splurges, going shopping, buying Starbucks,
And
going
you're
out
right.
to eat. And
Dr. Curtis said the very same
Yeah.
thing, and that's why I mentioned being gainfully employed and
Yeah.
being a helpful member of the household.
Yes.
Those things are going to be key to making it successful. Now, if you have a kid with a failure to launch,
Yeah, that's different.
maybe go see Dr. Curtis.
Really interesting, though. Learned a lot. Thank you,
Thanks.
Rena.